Hey, what's going on, everybody? Isaac here. I want to tell you about a fantastic book that hit the market last year in 2022. I picked it up at, I don't know, some point last year and read it, and just finished reading it again. This is The Urban Prepper's Guide by Jim Cobb. Jim Cobb is a pretty well respected name in the prepper circle. He's written several different books and is the editor of Backwoods Survival Guide magazine that I read relatively frequently, and Prepper's Survival Guide magazine. You can get those on the magazine rack at probably your local grocery store, Walmart, CVS, wherever you prefer to pick up your periodicals. Now, this book, not your typical type of prepping book. This is the Urban Prepper's Guide. So this book, I mean, it's super practical stuff for somebody like me. I live in a suburban area, a large metropolitan city, and it's not feasible for me to, be like in some of these prepper circles say, go out and buy yourself 50 acres and start homesteading. Can't do it. Just can't. It's not feasible in my life. I got commitments here in, you know, urban, well populated areas. So can't do that. Can't go buy 50 chickens and put them in my backyard because I don't really have much of a backyard, let alone room for 50 chickens. This is the everyman's guide to being prepared should a disaster hit. And it's for disasters, like everyday stuff you see on the news. It's not the stuff, you know, hunkered down for the nuclear holocaust or that well-loved EMP thing that's popular in this type of prepper fiction, I guess we could call it. It's not an apocalyptic scenario book. This is real life stuff. The book is really well put together. And you can see it's not necessarily color coded, but each of the chapters has a color assigned to it, even though it doubles up at first, but kind of know where you are when you're flipping through the book. I do not know if all the chapters, you can see the table of contents here, if all the chapters are listed in order of importance for prepping, but it starts off with water in chapter 1 and food in chapter 2. So if you want to be prepared, I mean, that's kind of stuff everybody needs. Something that, if you watch my channel regularly, you know I'm a big history buff. It starts off in the introduction with the history of prepping. How cool is that? It began mostly after, well, I guess in the early 40s, World War II. FDR started a Office of Civilian Defense. Then, kids in the Cold War era trained for the nuclear holocaust, duck and cover under your desk at school and all that type of stuff. People building bomb shelters in their backyard after the Cuban Missile Crisis and other things like that. Then it says a rise of the survivalists, a guy named Kurt Saxon publishing some books in the 70s. I listed a couple of other authors in here who wrote books. It goes into prepping when I was coming of age in the late 1990s, Y2K. I remember that pretty darn good. My parents had so many old milk jugs filled up with water in our basement back then, which thank God it turned out to be nothing when the clock struck 12 and the new millennium rang in and the computers still worked. Survivalists moving back to preppers, after 9/11, disaster strikes. COVID-19. We definitely talk about COVID-19 in this book. It was published in 2022. You know, 2 years after the pandemic changed the world as we know it, whether you like it or not. But, you know, chapter 1, water, storing up water, guys. I mentioned filling up old milk jugs. It's not in this book, but I heard that's actually not recommended because, you know, plastic kind of absorbs what's in it, so your water will still be kind of milky a little bit if you store it in old milk jugs. But, you know, store some water in your house. The general recommendation, 1 gallon per person per day. And that's not, it's not just for drinking too. You got to ration your water there. Storage guidelines, you know, you live in a high-rise apartment building, you might not want to store a 55-gallon drum full of water in your bedroom. Just, floors aren't meant to hold that. Let's say, I think a gallon of water weighs about 8 pounds. I think it says it in this book. 8 times 55, it's like 400 pounds in one spot all the time. You know, you might fall through. Don't drink your swimming pool water either if you have that. And we go into food. Definitely stock up some dry goods. It even we got a list of forever foods around here. Stuff that really stores virtually forever. We got honey, salt, white rice, sugar, and canned goods. Now, canned goods and forever, it says that, and you know, won't remain good forever, but quite a few years. You know, if you keep them stored out of the heat and all that. And it goes through different food preservation methods. Shelter is next up. It's not about building, you know, squirrels' nests out in the woods. It's about staying warm when it's cold and staying cool when it's hot, or for like power outages and things like that. You know, practical prepping here, guys. This isn't the end all be all nuclear holocaust stuff. First aid. Keep different first aid stuff at home. Medications, you know, make sure you got that ibuprofen for when your fat ass is hauling water from the creek and you hurt your back because the power's out and you can't, and you didn't store up water in your house because you skipped over chapter 1. Toilet paper. Remember that was absent from the shelves for a while in 2020. Home security. You know, it's not all about stocking up bullets and ammo. That is definitely stressed in this. Don't use wasp spray as a substitute for pepper spray. Don't do it. That's for bugs. Communication. Maybe you want to get yourself a ham radio. Communicate with others. Get yourself a NOAA weather radio. I have one as part of my preparedness. It's solar powered. You can crank it up, or batteries, you know, it charges. And I think you could charge a cell phone in it too. You can plug in USB into it. What's your everyday carry? Are you prepared when you're out and about? I know if you're watching this channel, you probably got a pocket knife, but you know, carry some other things. Like me, when I commute to work, I take a backpack. I have a few things in it. You know, I got a lighter, a flashlight to start a fire. Here's something. Flashlights. I know my buddy Saw Grunt. Here's his stream light. What's it called? The wedge that he carries every day. Shows that every day in his videos. It's cool that that's in this book. It made me think of him. Multi-tools. I own one multi-tool. I probably should have a spare. Stuff around the house, or keep in your vehicle. A small tool kit. He goes into one of those shemags. Everybody talks about those. Maybe I ought to get one of those things. Cover yourself when it's hot, warm your neck when it's cold, dip that in water to really cool you off when it's hot out there, and use it as a dust mask. Some of those wildfires that you hear about, that creates a lot of smoke. You want to try to filter that out. Shema could give you a hand. Home safety talks about house fires. Do you have a fire extinguisher in your home? I got a couple, thankfully. Keep one in the kitchen, upstairs, and one in the garage too. When's the last time you tested your smoke alarms? Are they working? Sometimes I test mine when I'm cooking dinner, inadvertently giving those a test. Prepping your finances. This is something that the author Jim posts about a lot online. Reduce your debt and be prepared that way. Even we hate to think about it. Think about death. Are you going to leave your family with a ton of debt to pay off when you pass away? Keep some cash on hand in case of emergency. Like I said, make a living trust. That's something that my wife and I need to get done. Be prepared. Work on your soft skills for when there's a disaster. It's not all about knowing how to make a bow drill fire when the electricity goes out. Work on your communication skills. Really practical stuff here, guys. And this book is very affordable too. Under 20 bucks. Well, at least it was. You know how prices fluctuate on Amazon all the time. It goes a lot of things in the prepper stuff. It's all about bug out and bug out bag. There is stuff about that here. Emergency evacuation. Just like know where you're gonna go. Like say, those people in Hawaii. Where did they have to go? Where? And it does talk about, making a bug out bag here. It doesn't say stock it with a AR pistol and 17 extra magazines. It says a full change of clothes, toiletry kit, cash and credit cards, snacks, prescription meds, cell phone charger, flashlight, first aid kit. Simple stuff, guys. Don't overthink it. Even talks about keeping caches of gear in like a storage unit, as part of your evacuation route if you want to go that way. That, I don't know, to me that just seems to add up costs. Grab and go. Tells you what to do in the first 24 hours in an emergency. That's the critical time. That's when you gotta hunker down, make sure you have the stuff, or get the heck out of Dodge. Make sure you have cleaning supplies in your house. And then there's an appendix here that's really it works as a checklist. Like there's literally boxes here next to these things that you can check off. And obviously, as I've been showing you, it's filled with nice color pictures too. Really a really great book. There's an appendix on a library, other recommended reading on the topic. Jim Cobb recognizes that he's not the end-all be-all of information, so he's got a whole list of other books here that you can lean on, as well as links to different types of gear. There's even a list of knives here. I know Jim's a big fan of Bark River knives, and that's number 1 on the list here. Different communication, that radio, Cato is a brand. I believe that's the one I have. Different brands of water filters and Can't go wrong with this book, guys. I definitely recommend you pick it up. I had to go and look it up on Amazon right now for you. As of the time I'm filming this video, this book is 12 bucks. $12 on Amazon. $11.99 to be exact. So well worth that. I think 12 bucks ain't much of anything, but this book is certainly worth $12, and I highly recommend it to everybody who's watching my channel and watching this video. Take care. I'll put a link to it in the description so you can order your own copy. See you next time.